Matt was the only man I had ever kissed, the only man I had ever slept with, the only hand I had ever held. For 10 years, I was defined by him. I wasn't just Chloe, I was Chloe and Matt. We were a single organism, and for a long time I loved it. It felt safe. I didn't have to deal with the horror stories my single girlfriends told me about. Ghosting, bad Tinder dates, guys who didn't text back. I had the golden ticket. But around my 26th birthday, something shifted inside me. It wasn't that I stopped loving Matt. It was that I started to panic. I looked at my friends who were dating. They had wild stories. They had heartbreaks, yes, but they also had experiences. They had first dates. They had the thrill of the chase. They had the mystery of meeting a stranger. I had certainty. I started to feel like I had read the last page of my life's book before I even finished the first chapter. I knew exactly how my life would go. Kids at 28, bigger house at 35, retirement in Florida, death. A dangerous question planted itself in my brain. Is this it? Is this the only touch I will ever know? It wasn't that I was unhappy, it was that I was curious, and curiosity killed the cat. In my case, it killed a marriage. It happened during a business trip to Chicago. It was the first time in years I had traveled alone, without Matt. I remember checking into the hotel. I took off my wedding ring. Not because I planned to cheat. I told myself it was for safety, so I wouldn't lose it. But deep down, I knew the truth. I wanted to walk into a room and be just Chloe, not Matt's wife, just a woman. I went down to the hotel bar. I ordered a martini. I sat there, feeling a strange electric buzz. I was anonymous. No one here knew I was a good wife. No one knew I baked cookies on Sundays. A man sat 2 stools away. His name was Julian. He was older, maybe 40. He wore a suit that cost more than my car. He didn't look like Matt. Matt was soft, blonde, comforting. Julian was sharp, dark, intense. He looked at me. "Waiting for someone?" he asked. I had a choice, right then and there. I could have said, "Yes, my husband is calling me in 5 minutes." I could have flashed the tan line on my ring finger. Instead, I smiled. "No, just me." We talked. He was charming, cynical, worldly. He looked at me with a hunger that Matt hadn't shown in years. Matt looked at me with love. Julian looked at me like a predator looks at prey. And God help me, I wanted to be caught. We didn't talk about our lives. I invented a fake persona. I told him I was an interior designer. I told him I was single. I spun a fantasy version of myself, the version I might have been if I hadn't married at 22. After 3 drinks, he leaned in. "I have a bottle of wine in my room, and a view of the lake." My heart hammered against my ribs. I thought about Matt. I thought about him sitting on our couch at home, probably playing video games, trusting me completely. But then I looked at Julian. This was a door to a world I had never seen. If I didn't walk through it now, I never would. I would go back to my safe, predictable life and wonder, what if, forever? "Okay," I said. The elevator ride up was silent. The air was thick with tension. When we got to his room, we didn't drink the wine. Whatever I expected, fireworks, magic, a revelation, it wasn't that. It was just sex. It was different, yes. It was aggressive. It was new. But it wasn't better. In the middle of it, a wave of nausea hit me. I looked at this stranger hovering over me, and suddenly the fantasy shattered. I wasn't a mysterious single woman. I was Chloe. I was Matt's wife. And I was in a hotel room with a man whose last name I didn't even know. I stopped him. I pushed him off. "I can't," I gasped. "I have to go." He looked confused, annoyed. "What? You're kidding." I grabbed my clothes. I dressed in the dark, my hands shaking so bad I couldn't clasp my bra. I ran out of that room like the building was on fire. I went back to my own room, locked the door, and scrubbed my skin until it hurt. I put my wedding ring back on. It felt heavy. It felt like a lie. I flew home the next day. Matt picked me up at the airport with flowers. "I missed you so much," he said, kissing me. I kissed him back, and I tasted bile in my throat. I thought I could bury it. I thought I could treat it like a bad dream. It was just one time. It was a mistake. I learned my lesson. But guilt is a rot. It eats you from the inside out. Every time Matt touched me, I flinched. Every time he said, "I love you," I felt like screaming. I became distant. I started picking fights just to push him away because I felt I didn't deserve his kindness. Matt tried. He tried so hard. He suggested therapy. He planned date nights. He asked me what was wrong, begging me to let him in. 3 months later, I couldn't take it anymore. We were eating dinner, lasagna, his favorite. He looked at me with those puppy dog eyes and asked, "Chloe, are we okay?" I put my fork down. I looked at the man who had dedicated his life to making me happy, and I dropped the bomb. "I cheated on you." The silence that followed was louder than any scream. I watched the light go out in his eyes. I watched 10 years of history shatter in a split second. He didn't yell. He didn't throw things. He just sat there, frozen, as if I had shot him in the chest. "Why?" he whispered. "Was I not enough?" That was the worst part. He was enough. He was more than enough. I was the one who was broken. We divorced 6 months later. Now I live in a small apartment. I'm single. I'm dating. I have that freedom I was so desperate for. And let me tell you, it's cold out here. I traded a diamond for a handful of glitter. I traded a man who would have died for me for a one-night stand with a stranger who didn't even remember my fake name the next morning. So, if you are sitting there, bored with your perfect relationship, wondering what it's like on the other side, take it from me. The grass isn't greener. It's just artificial turf. And once you cross that fence, you can never go back home.